Hi everyone, it's Natalie here, and I'm coming to you after another very long day substitute teaching. um, and I realized when I got home, if I didn't, it's Monday the 30th of September, and I realized on my way home that if I didn't stop what I'm doing and take a minute to record a September favorites, that it probably just would not get done. And in part, you know, I'm I'm working with four streams of income at the moment. So one of them is substitute teaching. Um, Obviously, there's end of life work. There's tarot and divination work, um, and then I just added 2 weeks ago another income stream in the form of working for a university that I'm absolutely certain wants nothing to do with being mentioned anywhere on my channel. But basically, a very highfalutin university that's doing a gifted program for kids, and it's a writing program, and it's hopefully going to be a lot of fun. I'm only like a week into the entire course. So I had like a week of like very rushed setup, and then last week was the first week of the course, and then yeah, we'll see. I just started the grading and stuff yesterday because now all the assignments are coming in, and it's a lot. It's a lot, and I'm starting to struggle with anxiety around, like, am I getting everything done? Am I ticking all of the boxes, et cetera, et cetera. So, and recognizing, I need to let go of some stuff. And I think some of it is going to have to sadly start with the substitute teaching, because truly it's so rigid and so it requires so much of my internal resources, and it's not really where I feel most called to be. And there's something to it that when you're doing something that you don't really want to be doing, not because it's terrible or because it's not decent work or good work, but because it's just, you're trying to grow in a particular direction. When you're putting your energy towards something, it becomes draining. And I really can't afford that. I really can't afford that. I just took on a new client who I will meet with for the first time tomorrow. And it's an end-of-life client that is that has Alzheimer's. And this particular client's family members who are at that point, with the process. And I need to have my resources for that, because this is the work I really want to be doing. It's not that I don't love kids. It's really not. I do. But I'm also aware, like today, I just am not fluent in the skills that are required in modern education, or contemporary education. So I'm good with things like, I don't know, it's not even worth getting into. It's really not. Suffice it to say, I don't know all the tricks about getting kids' attention, like managing classrooms in elementary education. I'm at least good at pausing and going, oh, I see that child is having an effect on me that's a little triggering right now, which kind of happened today. And instead of reacting, I'm going to just stop and take a breath, and I'm not really sure what I'm going to do next, but reacting is not the thing that's going to be helpful here. So, yeah. And that can be effective up to a point, but then, like, towards the end of the day, the kids started to realize, oh, we can get away with this because she doesn't scream at us and immediately redirect. She just kind of gets quiet and still and stares and gives us the look. And so then what began to happen was I got really sassy behavior, lots of like, duh, like right in my face. So it was, and I did react to that. That was, I couldn't like not at a certain point be like, excuse me, do you realize that is extremely rude? So, it's a balance. The other thing is, like, I'm trying to build competence in a new field, which is really tough. I was already extremely competent in another field entirely. Like, I was extremely good at what I did. It just wasn't a good fit anymore. So coming back to a place where everything I do is requiring like some kind of an uphill, learning curve for better, lack of a better way to put it. It's really hard. I'm drained a lot of the time. When it's not something that is right. Let's talk about cards. That's because that's what we're here to do. Yeah, on a personal level, the cards, the decks, I mean, no big surprise. Struggling to put those words together in a sentence, can you tell? It's just like that right now. I worked a lot with my Marielle because it's just like that right now. I'm just needing that guidance. August was so awful. Hi, Noah. August was so awful, and then this month has been so much better. But yeah, my trimmed first edition Marielle has been a huge portion of my month this month in my own work. So this one. And as you all know by now, the Filarcos Tarot by Carmen Sorrenti has also, I pulled my cards this morning and I was just like, because I can always feel like when the energy's off, it's like, oh, what's wrong? I'm not playing with a full deck. The other cards that I pulled for the day are on my altar. So yeah, I've started getting really good at like, wow, I'm not playing with a full deck. What's happening here? Anyway, yeah, so this has been, it's just such a godsend. I mean, it really, this one and the Marielle read together like best friends. So, regardless of which one I would pick, I would find that like I'd pull 3 cards from one, 3 cards from the other, and the second deck would comment or go deeper on the message of the first. And so I wonder if I've got my notebook here. I've been carrying around, I've gone to like a disc binding system for a bunch of stuff so that I can carry a lot of things that have, I can carry my writing, teaching stuff in one section, my doula stuff in another section, and then like tarot/life and divination in another. So one of the lovely things about this system, is it has all these blank, what is happening here? Oh, it has all these blank calendar pages. So like, yeah, isn't that awesome? So for the first half, the pink was Marielle and the orange was Filarcos. And then as you can see, at a certain point, I flipped them. And I clearly am still keeping a monastic schedule for many of my weekends, which would be like when I was in seminary, we would like work really hard all week and then we could let our practice and recording of it go over the weekend. What would happen is we would go really deep over the weekend. It's just that it wasn't the practice that counts, if you see what I mean. But anyway, it's interesting how that's coming up. The purple in here is where I started working with the Tarot of the She. So here is my new Tarot of the She. And this one and the Filarcos, they are beautiful together. And they're pretty much the exact same size, which is interesting. So these 2 decks have been reading together beautifully. And, I'm loving my dive into this Tarot of the She. It's just, where has it been all my life? I'm so in love with this deck. I'm in love with its messages and its way of delivering and conveying them. It's just gorgeous. I'm really happy with this one. It was a recommendation from Diane of Indigo Moon Woman. And what a wonderful recommendation. It complements it complements the Philarcos beautifully. I have not yet tried to read it with the Marielle, but of course that's a matter of time, because I will continue reading with these 3 next month and just kind of rotating them in and out, just for my own personal work. And interestingly, I've had this crystal since I was probably about 19 or 20 with its little froggy. And it's this Dex crystal now. It likes the frog. I don't know why. I was just like, I wonder if this deck needs a yes, it does. Okay, yes, it wants the frog. So, Tarot of the She loves the aventurine frog. So, it's with that one now. And for my Philarcos, I don't know why, but it wants this huge chunk of garnierite. So, usually when they're sitting on my shelf, I just put their crystal over them. Those are the main decks that I've really been invested in, like in my own personal work. A few days ago, what was it, Friday, and I haven't posted. I meant to post it right away. I did like a spontaneous unboxing of the Santa Muerte Tarot. And I intended to get that posted Friday night and didn't because our internet went out briefly. So I guess most of Friday evening it was just out, and it was because I screwed it up. Long story. Anyway, don't push the reset button on on the router, apparently. Don't do that. I did that. Oops. And I really should have just unplugged it and plugged it back in. We all learn. So that didn't happen. And I was just relieved to be able to get the weekly reading out because I'd had that recorded since Wednesday night. And I was ready to have that out like Thursday night. It's a long story. But you know, that's how it goes. Too many things going on. Too many things. Too many balls in the air. So, yes. So I started working with the Santa Muerte Tarot. It is a fascinating deck. I am so intrigued, and it reads nothing like the others. You know, talk about one of these things is not like the others. Oh my gosh. Yeah, this, I don't know what I expected necessarily, but because I feel like a lot of my decks really read well together. Like, I feel like I could pull my New Earth Tarot out. It's a totally different aesthetic, totally different way of looking at the world. It would read beautifully with any of the decks I just mentioned, and I know it would. I know I can trust it to. I read it frequently with the Marielle for readings with people. I've read it with, what's the name? The Numinous Tarot. I read it beautifully with the Numinous Tarot. Those two loved each other. Non-binary and non-dual. Woo, beautiful. So like I know my decks really well. This one is a standalone guy. That's all I can say. I mean, it is not. It's just a totally different voice. I don't feel like it's. I don't know. It's more masculine. I guess a lot of my decks have a really powerful feminine energy, and this one is definitely a very masculine energy. That is not a bad thing. I'm actually really fascinated with Fabio Listrani's perspective, because a lot of these cards, you do not think that you're getting a Rider-Waite Smith. This has got nothing to do with the Five of Pence as we know it. And so when you go to the guidebook, I had no idea what I was getting into, but I mean, obviously, like as a pacifist, as a Buddhist pacifist, and aspiring, intersectional feminist, this is a very, that's a tough card for me to take in and be with. But I'm curious. I really want to know. Like, I'm fascinated. What I'm finding so far is that this is a deck that reads, it reads day-to-day, mundane, life things, and it has a very specific perspective that at some point I will probably be able to articulate, but which I'm not able to right now. How about that? I should say, I did edge the deck in blue. I don't know why. I like edging decks, and it's a way to get to know the deck, and the blue felt right, with all the reds and stuff in the deck. And the blues. There's so much blue in the deck as well. So the contrast just felt nice. So yeah, I'm going to continue working with this one. I had expected to be able to pick it up and start reading for clients with it right away. No, that's just not going to be a thing for a while. Maybe sooner rather than later, but I'm going to have to put quite a bit more time and effort into it. I really wanted some kind of creepier, darker decks to work with for Halloween. And, some of you might be laughing right now, and you probably should, because I realized at a certain point, Nat, you're already working with dark and creepy decks, okay? Fairies that look like aliens, the sun card in the Philarkos is so dark already, it's not even very sunny. These kinds of, what am I thinking? I already read with really dark decks. I don't need to have other dark decks that are extra dark, right? Or extra spooky. That's just who I am. So just do you, and you're going to fit right in with this holiday time, right? Yeah. Funny thing to realize about yourself, really weird. Anyway, but I am really interested in this deck, and I know I will enjoy it. I am also going to dive back into the Marigold Tarot, speaking of creepy, which, I gotta be honest, this deck has a vibe that is a lot more in tune, it feels to me, with a lot of the decks that I already read with, more so than the Santa Muerte, which I'll go into a deeper dialogue about that deck soon, but it doesn't need to happen right now. Anyway, so yeah, and God, this one smells good. Oh, hello, my love. Ooh, such a nice deck. Anyway, yeah, so beautiful. And I've barely worked with this since I've gotten it, and yet I will not be letting go of this one. I just love it so much. Flames, it's a great deck. So we're getting punch drunk, Nat. What a fun time. What else? There's so many, because there are the decks that I use to read for myself, and then there are all the decks that I use for clients. Let's see. Decks that I used for clients. We already know about my second edition Marielle. How long are we running here? We're getting there. One I have relied on significantly this month is the Indigo Alchemist Tarot. So If You Don't by Heather Blumenthal, I believe is her name. I really hope so. We'll know soon, because it'll be on the screen. Yeah, this deck is wonderful for reading with clients. It's so immediate. I rarely have to say very much when the cards pop up. If I show them, I watch clients' eyes go, oh, it's that. It's contemporary enough that this one's so helpful. It really makes a very, immediate impression. I will say it does chip. It is chipping a lot. It's beginning to start to show its wear and tear. It is a really not great cardstock. I really wish it were better cardstock than what it is. And I think, I remember Heather saying something not that long ago about contemplating another edition with different cardstock. So, if that happens, I'm sure I will be upgrading. Because I feel I want to keep this one in my collection and in my rotation. I really have enjoyed working with this one tremendously. So yeah. And hopefully she'll begin delivering orders to the Southern Hemisphere as well. Whoops. Ooh, the levers, they wanted to jump out at me. Yeah, it's been beautiful. So love Moonology. Love Moonology. This one's a great one. But this one does seem to help with timing and getting a sense of timing, getting an overall kind of idea of what's going on. And the readings from it have been very accurate. They feel very immediate, very on point. Another new deck that I've been working with that's like new to me, but not a new deck, for a couple of reasons, is the Gaian Tarot. And this is the French version, which was gifted to me by our very own Diane Jarecki, Indigo Moon Woman. So I had a client, and who was probably in her 50s. I don't know how old she was, but she was an experienced human being who was very realized. And she just had a few questions. She just wanted a very short reading. And it was over video, and she was wonderful. And I just felt drawn to pull out this deck, and the images and the energy were so resonant for her. It was absolutely the right deck. And so I have been keeping it nearby and playing with it a lot more and just loving on it a lot more. It took me a while because I knew that as soon as I started to use this deck, it would feel more like my deck and it wouldn't have as much of Diane's energy in it. And I have goosebumps. I love having Diane's energy. But what I'm finding instead is that it's got both in the most wonderful way. And it was so perfect for that particular client. She resonated so powerfully with this deck and its message. And even the fact that it was in French. She said at one point, "Oh my goodness, are those titles in French?" And I said, "Yeah." And she was really moved by that. So, yeah, it was just so beautiful. So this deck is going to be coming out a lot more for client work. It really has such a beautiful, beautiful energy and reads like a dream. You know, the messages feel so clear and so even. And it was not a deck that I had encountered until I encountered with it from Diane. So this was the first time I'd really ever seen it, was when she sent it to me. Oh, I love this one so much. Oh, yeah. So, yeah. So anyway, it was really lovely to come home and talk to you folks. It gives me the strength to sit down and do more, like another 3 hours, 4 hours worth of paperwork so that I can go to bed, get up tomorrow morning and do all of it over again. Although thankfully I won't be subbing. I'll just be doing lots of paperwork from home. So, all right. Thank you so much, everybody. And I look forward to continuing to share developments and new things as they come up. All right. I wish all of you the most beautiful, beautiful October. I'm so excited it's October and it's creepy time again. It just makes me happy. I love when things are dark, and I don't know. It's my time of the year, fall and winter. I love spring and summer, but fall and winter hold a special place. So, all right. Bye, everybody.